O'Keefe, and most significantly Beetle Bailey by Mort Walker, was debuted on September 4th of 1950, about a young man who joins the army right before the Korean War breaks out. While Bailey had a slow beginning, it soon became the #1 strip in America, with Walker's family continuing it after his death. The humor strip revolved around the inept soldiers at Camp Swampy, with the title character Beetle Bailey, a lazy soldier who mostly tries to avoid work, much to the chagrin of Sergeant Snorkel. The strip remains immensely popular, syndicated in 1,800 papers across the world. Another strip was The Heart of Juliet Jones, a contemporary comic soap opera strip, which premiered on March 9th of 1953, which was based on the 30-page treatment by Margaret Mitchell, the famed author of Gone with the Wind. Written by Elliot Kaplan and drawn by Stan Drake, who stayed on to 1989, it was a soap opera strip about rival sisters Juliet and Eve Jones. The main appeal was Frank Drake's art, with its realistic depictions that he achieved through Polaroid references. After he left, Frank Boyle took over the art, continuing the series to January 1st of 2000, ending on an unresolved cliffhanger. By the 1950s, the size of comic strips started to shrink and sink, while King Features lost its founder with William Randolph Hearst, who died on August 14, 1951 at the age of 88. A controversial figure during and after his rise, Hearst was nevertheless instrumental in the creation and spread of comic strips' popularity through King Features Syndicate. Of course, he was the inspiration for Citizen Kane, the 1941 film that is considered the greatest ever made, and Hearst was so enraged by it that he fought to have the film squashed. While the Chief was no more, King Features continued to rate as the premier purveyor of comic strips. With comic strips diminishing, though, King Features decided to branch out with a TV studio in the 1960s. It was headed by Al Brodax, who made a new cartoon series of Popeye for ABC after Paramount's license ran out in 1957. The new series would run for 220 episodes and ran from 1960 to 1962 before going to syndication. Of note, Bluto was renamed Brutus due to a belief that Paramount still held the rights to the name, a mistake since Bluto had originated in the comic strip before the Paramount cartoons. Next, Al Brodax produced shorts for Beetle Bailey, Snuffy Spiff, and Crazy Cat. Of interesting note is the launch of The Beatles on September 25, 1965, and ran for 39 episodes. It was this cartoon series that led Al Brodax and King Features to involvement in producing the animated The Yellow Submarine movie on July 17, 1968, a musical which has the Beatles recruited to save the land of Pepperland from the evil Blue Meanies. A psychedelic trip of a film, it remains one of the most influential movies to this day. John Lasseter of Pixar credits it as helping expand the animated movie audiences to a more serious art form, while the late, great John Lennon said it was his favorite of all the Beatle movies. Next, they did Cool McCool from September 10th, 1966 to January 21st, 1967 for the NBC network, lasting for 20 episodes. It was created by Bob Kane, the co-creator of Batman, about a hip trenchcoat spy who defeats villains despite his comic ineptness. Back on the comic strip front, Bud Blake's Tiger began on May 3rd, 1965 and would win the best humor strip at the NCS in 1959, 1960, and 1972, along with Hi and Lois. The strip, a gag a day about suburban boyhood pals, appeared in 400 papers and ran until 2004. In 1966, King Features tried to expand into comic books themselves with King Comics, launching several comics based on their popular strips, such as The Phantom, Flash Gordon, and Popeye. Flash Gordon are particularly well received, earning 3 Alley Awards in 1966 and another in 1967. However, King failed to get the Comics Code approval, CCA, on their books, leading to many retailers refusing to carry them. While the King eventually got CCA approval and even tried to sell their comics in package deals at supermarkets, the line went defunct in 1967, with many of their comics picked up by Charlton afterwards. Another significant strip from King Features was Hagar the Horrible, a humor strip about a Viking, which was launched in 1973 by Dick Brown and would win the NCS Award for Best Strip in 1977, 1984, and 1986. Brown would win the Reuben for Cartoons of the Year from the NCS in 1973, previous for Hi and Lois, a suburban strip he illustrated with Mort Walker writing. Brown winning the Reuben would make him the third repeat winner after Milton Caniff and Charles Schultz. Of those three, only Brown and Caniff did this for 2 different strips. Schultz won for only Peanuts. Brown's son Chris would eventually take over Hagar the Horrible in 1988, and the strip continues to this day. Hi and Lois, which originally launched back in October 18th, 1954, continues to be syndicated to this day as well. In the 1980s, King Features purchased Register and Tribune for $4.3 million, thus adding Family Circus and the Amazing Spider-Man strips to its lineup. Spider-Man would eventually end in 2019. Later that year, King purchased News America Syndicate, thus cementing them as the lead syndicate of comic strips in the world with 316 features. In 1989, Jay Kennedy became the editor and started A New Breed, which was a rotating strip of new talent that included Baby Blues, Mutts, and Zits. Baby Blues was launched on January 7th of 1990 and won Best Humor Strip at the NCS in 1996, created by Jerry Scott and Rick Kirkman, about the ever-growing McPherson family, beginning with Darren and Wanda and their newborn Zoe, and over the years added son Hammy and other daughter Ren. The strip continues to this day. Mutts was created by Patrick McDonnell, launching on September 5th of 1994, following the adventures of Earl and a dog and Mooch, a cat. It continues to this day, and according to Charles Schultz, is one of the best comic strips ever made. Zits would launch fully on July 7th of 1997, created by Jerry Scott and Jim Borgman, a humor strip about Jeremy Duncan, a teenager in suburban Ohio. It continued this day as well as one of the most popular comic strips in syndication. It was an ideal times for King Features, as many great comic strips such as Calvin and Hobbes, The Far Side, and Bloom County had ended in 1995, giving King Features plenty of new space to fill in the papers. King Features would then launch its first website on January 12th of 1998, later invented as the Daily Ink in 2006, in which online subscribers could receive all of King Features strips for $19.99 a year. The website was relaunched on December of 2003 as Comics Kingdom, which was originally created as a website newspapers could embed on their sites. The site remains popular to this day as it constantly adds new strips to download, including King Features' extensive back catalog. Jay Kennedy died on March 15th of 2007, with Brandon Bufford becoming new editor on April 23rd, 2007, having previously worked as an editor at DC Comics and continues to serve as King Features editor. Today, King Features Syndicate is the second largest comic strip distributor after Andrew McNeil Syndicate, also known as UClick, in the world, with up to 113 million readers worldwide, remaining a part of Hearst Holdings Incorporated. Since its founding in 1915, it has survived over 100 years of comic strip history, bringing some classic characters like Popeye, Blondie, and Flash Gordon to life, which of course have had their impact on comic books and numerous other mediums. You cannot write the history of comic books without comic strips, and you cannot do the history of comic strips without King Features. I would like to thank the chief source of this episode, King of Comics, 100 Years of King Features, published by IDW, a fantastic coffee table-sized book that not only gives a thorough history of the company, but numerous reprints of their many classic strips. A must-read for any comic strip fan.
And now is October 22nd, 2020, time for the favorite comic book of the week. Batman White Knight presents Harley Quinn by Katana Collins and Sean Murphy, which takes place a few years after the events of Batman Curse of the White Knight, that finds Harley Quinn struggling to raise her twins by herself just when the Gotham PD comes calling, asking for help with a new serial killer. Collins and Murphy, who share story credit here, do a great job establishing the new storyline, this great black Batman universe, which, as you know, is the black label is also is the new term for the Elseworlds label, in which Bruce Wayne is now in jail, having outed himself as Batman, and Harley Quinn is living a life having been married to Jack Napier, who was the Joker in this universe, and since passed away, and raising their twin children. Plus, there's still a little bit of humor in there, too, because while Harley is trying to be a good mother, she is still Harley Quinn, so when one of her kids' toys takes it out on her, well, she's still Harley. She takes it right back at him. But it's also nicely honest, too, in that Harley admits that she doesn't think she is a good mother, has a classic struggles a lot of mothers have starting out, where they think they're just horrible for wanting to be away from their kids and just hoping they would shut up sometimes. But as someone who knows plenty of good parents, that's quite common. That's called human beings, and that's wonderful to see Harley kind of humanized in this way, especially if it's an alternate universe from the regular DC one. And of course, Murphy's art is still very atmospheric and cartoony, perfect for this storyline, but a little more polished this time too. Not the rough pencils we had in the previous Great White Knight and Curse the White Knight storylines. So all in all, I've been the Batman White Knight storylines are easily some of the best Batman stories told in recent years, and this one looks to be no exception. So yes, favorite comic book of the week is Batman White Knight presents Harley Quinn #1. And with that, we will conclude this 2-part rambling and too brief history of the great King Features Syndicate. Join again next week when we do a biography of the great humor artist John Severin. Till then, go out and enjoy yourself a good comic book.